Welcome back, fellas. I'm gonna be working on the motor again. I have the week off and my parts get here today, so hopefully I can start putting it together as much as I can. Leaving town this Friday, so I only have till Thursday to wrench on this. Right now I'm draining all the oil that was left over in the oil pan. I was looking at it, it's pretty fucking black. Look at that. I mean, it doesn't look like it has any metal in it, so that's good. But I'm gonna let that drain, and I'm gonna prepare the power washer, get it hooked up to power wash the engine, really degrease it. Can any of you guys guess my go-to degreaser for this job? If you guessed crud cutters, then you are correct. Gonna be hooking this up to my little nozzle for the power washer. Bought this little attachment at Home Depot for like 20 bucks, 30 bucks. Using this orange tape, I covered up my throttle body. I'm covering up all the areas that I don't want water to get into from my power washer. Now the motor's all nice and clean, easier to work with. Looks like it's been resealed from the upper oil pan. So I don't think I'm gonna worry about that, but I am gonna be redoing this ugly ass red one. So I'm gonna turn it around. It's actually all it will go because of the manifolds are on. Remove all the oil pan bolts. Oh, a lot of water did get in there. Bueno, nomás me toca quitarle todo el empaque aquí. Oh shit, my bad guys. This music got me speaking in Spanish. Should I do a Spanish series? Bienvenidos a mi canal de YouTube. Hoy vamos a arreglar esta mamada. I'm gonna use this little scraper tool that I have to get the silicone off all the way around.
Ready to fill it up with some RTV.
There's actually a bunch of stuff inside of this filter in here. A lot of it is plastic guides. Now I have all these surfaces cleaned up and I scuff sanded them with 80 grit paper or 120 grit sandpaper. Did the same to this end. Now I'm gonna go ahead and run a bead of silicone. I'm just using this Max Torque gasket maker that I got at AutoZone. When I put the silicone on this, I'm gonna run a bead through the inside, all along the inside of every hole here, all the way around, and then I'm gonna go ahead and install it. There it is, covered in RTV. So there's two dowel pins that serve as guides, one here and one somewhere here. So I first put the top one in and then the bottom one to make sure I don't mess up my gasket maker. And I can go ahead and put those bolts all hand tightened. All tightened by hand, as you can see, very minimal squirtage of the siliconage here on this oil pan. That's just barely tightened by hand, so I'm gonna let that chill for an hour while I do other things, and then I'll come back with the torque wrench and tighten them up. Torquing these down to 7 Newton meters. Now I turn the motor around so I can start removing the timing belt, so I can change the water pump, thermostat, my new timing belt and everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and retent the tensioner, and I'm gonna put this little pin from last time in there. I did already put the crank rock pin. I do have the timing bar here. The two big holes go on the inside. Line it up. When I have it on there is when I remove these bolts. You can remove it now. The crank won't turn. These will spin if you spin them by hand. So you gotta be careful not to spin them when you're trying to remove this cam sprocket. Just remove the thermostat housing. It's all plastic, so I'm gonna go ahead and toss this and use my metal one because these are prone to cracking. It's only 3 bolts, one here, 2 over the thermostat, and then another one to just hold this little leg out so it doesn't break. Here's the thermostat. I am replacing this one with a lower temp thermostat. I'm also going to remove the water pump. When removing the water pump, you're going to have to loosen your power steering pump by removing your throttle body, loosening it, and then right below the throttle, the power steering pump, there's another bolt in the back that goes back there. I also removed the cam sprocket on both sides. That way I can pull my cams out so I can change the tensioner a lot easier. To remove the valve cover, you're gonna have to remove your coil packs, and you're gonna have to remove 8 10mm nuts all around. You have 3 up top, 2 in the middle, and 3 on the other side. These are the plastics that I'm gonna use to replace this plastic here on the tensioner. Just clip them into place. Got these on Amazon for $30 actually. And the good thing about them is they come with this little plastic tool which goes so now you only want to do 8 turns. So 1, 2, and 8. That's what they advised. So that should be good enough. These aren't going to move because these have tension on them from the buckets, so these will only pop around. So now I'm okay to take off the rest of these cap bolts and release the cams so I can pull out the tensioner. You also want to remove this sensor cap. Now that I have removed all of the caps, I can remove cams to release the tensioner. This is the tensioner. I've taken it off. You can just pop these off. As you can see, they just go like this. Oh, this one's brittle, so it's broken now. Also, you can see the grooves here of where the chains wear it out, so I'll go ahead and replace it with the new ones that I have. Now that I removed both of those guides, I can go ahead and click the new ones on, just like that. Go ahead and do the same for this side. There you go. Now we're gonna go ahead and put the tensioner back on. It was in the way, so I had to remove it.